Hello Fanatics, DJ Briggs here, back for another unsponsored and unscripted review of a LEGO 2022 Marvel set. This is based off the Infinity Saga line, and that they introduced back last year in 2021. This does recreate, bring back the buildable figure subline that went away for a little bit, but getting all the mundane set specs out of the way, it is set number 76206. It is recommended for building ages 9 and up. It does come with 381 pieces, and is retails here in America for about $40. And like I said, it is bringing back the buildable figures, but instead of having a bunch of like specialized Hero Factory or Bionicle pieces, this set more opts to build up a figure that you can play with, which has its pros and cons. We'll get into it as we go through the review, but without further ado, let's look at it and see how it stacks up. Here is all the set all built up. Pretty much most of the pieces go towards this Iron Man buildable figure, but then you do get this little UCS info plaque, which we'll get into in a little bit. But first we're going to talk about the actual Iron Man figure here. Considering the fact that this is LEGO's attempt to newest attempt to create the buildable figure line that they did not so long ago with the Star Wars figures. I actually have one right here. So for size comparison, we got Chewbacca here. So it's about pretty substantial in size, as you can see. Chewbacca right next to him. So yeah, they are definitely going for that buildable figure style, but it doesn't have any of the actual Bionicle or Hero Factory parts. They pretty much decided to mostly make this a brick built figure, which, yeah, I can see the pros and cons of that. This does make the build a little bit more enjoyable. It is a little bit it's very nicely designed. It was a very fun build to put together, and didn't get bored once. I actually learned some new techniques here, but going over the basics, everything you see on this figure is a sticker, except for the head up here. That is a printed piece, and we'll get into that in a second, but just want to take you starting down here at the legs and feet. They are very nicely designed. You have this ride shield here in dark red, used for the shin guard, going up, actually the ankle guard, excuse me, and then you can see the first new piece they introduced for this year, which is just that ball joint piece, but it is newly designed, so I guess it can hold a little bit more friction, and it can not snap after so many uses. And going up, so continuing up to the knees here, you can see some of the stuff that they started here. I do like the fact that most of this is covered up from all sides. Usually with the older figures, they kind of left this open on the back, and here they made a genuine effort to cover it up and make it actually look nice. So you can start to see here that they use like 3 different colors to approximate the gold that is prevalent on Iron Man suits. We got the dark tan here. Some of the light tan is unfortunately poking through down here, but you also up here get like the regular pearl gold pieces, and then you get a lot of these drum lacquered painted chrome pieces, which is really nice to get all these in various different colors for the first time. So here you can see a problem with the stickers. The gold on the sticker doesn't really match the chrome gold of the parts, so that is a little unfortunate there. Going up to his torso here, you have a nice build here of using some car spoilers to represent the segmented abdomen of his armor. And you got some stickers around here for the arc reactor detail. That arc reactor is a opalescent purple, I mean blue color mixture. And that is also up here on the hands as the repulsors on those. So that is a nice part usage. And you can see his arms here are nicely designed. You have a sticker on the gray part down there. Nice use of that lacquer gold again. Some nice wrist detail. You have hinges there just to aid in the joints of moving. And then the hands, well, fairly basic. They do get the job done. And coming up here to the shoulders, that is another new piece for 2022. That is the same piece used for his head up here, but it is unprinted. So you get a couple of those in nice unprinted color for the shoulder pads of his armor. But you can see one of my biggest gripes with this set, to get that look there, they kind of had to drop the shoulder a little bit down. So the arm here is a little, his hands go way down to his lower thigh here. So they had to drop the arm to get that shoulder joint in there, which, while it's just posed right there, it looks fine, but I kind of wish that the designer incorporated the shoulder blade onto the actual arm and kept the arm where it's supposed to be. Flipping this around to the back, you have a couple of stickers up here, one right there, two right there, and these are articulated flight flaps that can come up. You can pose those however you want, and then you got two more of those upside down rounded tiles in that opalescent blue color. And underneath there you have this nice sticker detail that didn't need to be there, but I do appreciate it nonetheless. And you can see there's a button there that is for a play feature, which we'll get into when we go over that. But coming up here to the head, it is very nicely done. You have a sticker on either side for the side of the helmet. You have that arm new piece that I already talked about, and it's very nicely done. It does get the job done. That is a nicely printed piece, and I think that the graphic designer did a really good job at making this look like the Mark 43, which it's supposed to be. But getting into the play feature, the big play feature of this set, that button back there is a light up brick, and you can push it and it'll light up his arc reactor there, as you can see. It doesn't really light up the whole arc reactor, and that was a fun part of the build, where they had you build the entire torso and then you had you slide that in studs not on top style, which was really neat and a fun little build. But the one big problem with this is it's in the orange light brick. They only have orange and red, and they use the orange one here. I wish they kind of had a clear, because that doesn't really look right to me. Yeah, that is a fun little play feature for kids, but it would have been nice if it actually glowed white or blue like it's supposed to. But this is a posable action figure, like Lego intended. So let's get into the articulation here. So going over articulation, starting up here at the head, you do have a ball joint connected down to the bottom there, and that is a freely rotating ball joint, so you can get a lot of range of movement. So you can get this guy in a flying pose, which you would want your Iron Man figure to be, which is nice. I already went over the adjustable flaps here on the back. The shoulder joint kind of moves forward and backward a little bit. It doesn't move up too much to get out of the way of that shoulder joint. So yeah, as well as that joint being dropped to get that shoulder look there, this really doesn't get good range of motion for the shoulder joint here. I mean, it gets some, but not as much as you'd want it to, because you can only get the arm up to there before the shoulder joint just pops off. So that is unfortunate. And then they use the double hinge down here at the elbow instead of a ball joint, so you can only get up to there for the hinge on the elbow. So you can get the double elbow like most Marvel Legend figures, but and then you got that angle plate there that just kind of stops it and holds it in that position when you bring it back. So again, not really that good of articulation there. Wrist joint on both hands, you get a nice ball joint, so you get a lot of nice range of movement here. You get 4 fingers on the hand, and each of them are articulated, so you can pretty much get in a fist, do whatever you want there. You got a nice waist swivel. That can go 360. That is done by a ball joint going into the bottom of the torso there. So I thought there would be some forward and back here, but no, there's no forward and back. It's just a waist swivel. So no ab crunch where you really need it. But getting into the hips down here, it comes forward that much. You can get it back all the way, but it does come up that, unfortunately, if you move it around a little bit. But I have had the experience of, if you move it up too high going forward, you can pop these bushings off, because they're not really made to be yanked on like that, unfortunately. So you get some nice range of movement there nonetheless. And then you get ratcheted joints, as I already said, on the ankles. So they go back that far, and they go really far forward, but I would, because these can angle out of the way. And then at the bottom, you have a nice foot joint that can go forward that much, just because of the front part of the armor of the boot, and it can go back that far. And but you do get a nice rocker joint on that feet, which is perfect. So you can pretty well pose this guy, but let's see if we can get him into that iconic 3-point stance, because that's really important. Not really, because I can't even get his feet. Unfortunately, off camera, I wasn't even able to try to get him to look in that 3-point pose, which is a damn shame. I would have loved to have gotten him in that pose. The little Iron Man mech that they made can do that, so a little disappointing that the big one can't. That's partially due to how they did the hip joints here, that there's no ab crunch or anything in the main torso, which, you know, I would have liked to have sacrificed that play feature in the front just to get that ab crunch. And then again, how they did the arms doesn't really lend itself to getting poses like that, but you can pose this thing really fun. Don't get me wrong here, but that does it for looking at the figure. You got this weird plaque thing that's included that Lego says that you can, in the description, that you can just put this in front of the figure if you don't want to play with it and just pose it kind of like a hot toy. But it is kind of designed like UCS plaque. It's made up of two pieces. And then the front sticker, I'm sorry, I messed up a little bit right there. It's not supposed to, it got folded in a little bit. I apologize for that, but the sticker is mostly intact. You got a nice Lego-fied version of the set there in the corner, Infinity Saga. And then you just get all the set specs from the particular armor details from this set, so you can just get the figure into a nice pose there, put this in front of there, so somebody looking at the shelf can easily identify what this is, if they didn't know who Iron Man was or what this specific armor is from. So that does it for looking at the set here. So going over my final thoughts for the set, for the build, it was pretty enjoyable. It was pretty good. I think this figure is very well designed. It's just, unfortunately, as I pointed out in the review, how they chose to do the arms is like the biggest thing I don't like about this set. That you had the building issues with the crotch area, if you will, down there. Both of those kind of more limit articulation, which we'll get into in a minute. I forgot to show this off in the actual review, but the bottom of the feet do have blue bricks at the bottom to show the bottom of the repulsors on his feet, so that is a nice bit of detail that I forgot to show off, so I'm just showing off there. But build wise, again, pretty nicely done. It's just how they chose to go about some of the builds that limit articulation. Those stickers on the front of the mech there, of the figure, not really matching the chrome lacquered gold on the actual thighs there, which is pretty disappointing. Certainly oversight. And then going over articulation, because that is the most important thing here, because this is a buildable action figure. It's fun to pose. It does get into a wide variety of poses that you can get into, but again, kind of limited with some of the how they chose to implement some of these. How they chose to implement some of these joints. So footwear is kind of limited. The hip joint is very limited. You can't really crank on that unless you want to pop off a few pieces. And again, how they chose to do the arms from the shoulder joint to the elbow joint, both of those are misses for me. So I really didn't care for that. And also, I really don't care for this plaque here. It's nice if they're going for like a little collector thing of just having this on your shelf, pose it up, put that there, let people know. But I could have really done without this. This is a waste of parts to me that could have been better. I mean, it's only two parts, but I think that the designer kind of didn't really utilize parts that well for those joints that really needed different pieces to better do it. But $40 for this thing, considering most of what we have to go on. I'm going to compare it to Hasbro, because that's is about on par with Lego with their Marvel Legends and their Black series, where their figures are about $20. So the fact that you have to build this up, and it does include a lot of specialized pieces, and a lot of you do have a like here. They did deliver a figure that absolutely feels like it is worth that $40 price point. So yeah, I totally see the $40 price point. I'm not against it, but if you don't feel like paying that price, I do recommend picking this up at like 20% off if it ever gets to that. Most sets rarely do nowadays, thanks to everything that's gone on in the past couple of years. But yeah, it is a nice figure. Certainly new experience for Lego, and I sure hope that that we get more of these, that this sells, so we can get some more buildable action figures and like Star Wars and other themes like DC and stuff. So this is a really good first step. It's not perfect, but yeah. Unfortunately, this does get a 6.5 out of 10 for me, and it's mainly where that fell down was whereas the articulation and the build around that articulation, that when I review the buildable figures is what I look for the most, and it kind of fell flat for me in both those regards. So yeah, this does get a low score of 6.5 out of 10. So let me know what you think about the set in the comments below. I always look forward to your feedback and your comments. So comment, because it helps the channel. Subscribe to the channel because it helps even more. Like, because it helps even more. And ring that bell so you are notified of when I actually upload new content, because YouTube is kind of finicky with that. And I always try to upload Marvel stuff every Saturday, and I do tend to flip through Spider-Man and Avengers stuff, so every other Saturday. So subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time, keep building.